they really going to try? Oh, because my guys are still out there fighting. I didn't realize that. Right.
All right, guys. Today we have another episode of the CB podcast, and today I'm announcing it, and I'm Zimster. If you may not know, I'm a YouTuber and I also stream on Twitch. We also have Coffee Gaming with us. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Glyn GG in game, although I run Coffee Fuel Gaming both on Twitch and on YouTube.
And we have it's Mouflon, right? Did I said it right?
Correct. Yeah, you said it right this time. Perfect.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm a Twitch streamer and also recently got into game testing and stuff like that as well.
Oh, cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Today we do have a special guest, and that would be Drew, one of the... you are a content manager, correct?
No, I'm the influencer manager.
Influence manager. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm Drew. I'm the influencer manager at Mito Games, working on Conquerors Blade as well as a couple other titles. And yeah, it's my job to work with the creators who want to create content for games.
Make us happy. No. No.
I try.
You definitely do. You definitely do.
Absolutely.
Lots of credit there.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, we've been trying to get on here for a couple of weeks now, and I keep having to tell Glenn, no, I can't make it, no, I can't make it. So finally, can make it this week, so it's cool to be here. Thanks.
What a good week as well, the drop of Season 4, Drew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been, we're pretty happy with Season 4 so far. You know, there's a couple of issues that still need to be addressed, and we're definitely hearing a lot of good feedback from the community, both on the positive and negative side of things, but it's feedback nonetheless, and that type of stuff is going to help us make the game be better. So we want to hear it all. Overall, I think, I mean, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I think most people are pretty happy with the new content added to the game. I think some of the changes are taken with a little bit of a grain of salt, and some further changes are going to need to come. And, but overall, I think it's a positive change for the game. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that something that people need to realize is that there's 72 units now, and then plus these ones that are actually 73, isn't it? And then we've got another 3 coming in this season, and so there's going to be balancing issues, isn't there? So like as you're introducing new bits in, it's going to create a stronger balance in some areas to others. So but yeah,
for
that's
sure.
how I feel about it anyway. But yeah,
well, it's also true of the heroes too, right? And one of the things that people may not consider when they're talking about unit balance and hero balance and whatnot is that the game, the dev team, they're not only looking at feedback, but they're also looking at telemetry from the game as well in terms of what class is used, what the winning percentage is, damage output. There's like a whole slew of metrics that they're looking at and making changes towards these. And sometimes the changes are quite dramatic. Sometimes they're not as much. And it's an ongoing iterative process where with each update, make a little bit more change, see what the metrics are looking like, seeing what the feedback from the community is like, see how it actually is affecting gameplay. I know, like, we're 2 days into the season, and we're getting pretty strong feedback about the longbow, for example, and it's absolutely valid feedback, and all that stuff I can promise you guys is being heard loud and clear by the team. And so, but like you're saying, to the process, it's something to keep in mind that there's no magic build that's going to come that's going to be like, oh, here, everything's completely solved. It's going to be take a step, see where we're at, take a step, see where we're at, and just go from there. Honestly, no. I mean, from my personal point of view, and what I've seen, and from what I'm seeing from the community, no, not really. Mind you, I will say, I mean, as an influencer manager and not a community manager, I'm not as close to it as the community managers are, and especially with the additional feedback they get from the mods and whatnot. It's not like I don't talk with the community managers and whatnot. We actually we chat all day, every day, and but from what I've seen, there's not a lot that's surprising me at this point. You know, a lot of the feedback is, you know, stuff that you guys had told me during the preview event as well. So, you know, when we did that preview event a few weeks back, and I got to have, you know, side conversations with a lot of the creators who participated in that, and that really gave us, you know, an indication of what the greater community would be feeling. So, based on that stuff that we talked about, and Glenn, I mean, even you and I had a conversation about that. Yeah, I'm not really surprised. Yeah.
I guess that's kind of good in a sense then. No one's throwing you any massive curveballs in terms of it. What have you had back from the Nindachi changes? Have you had much back from that?
I'm sorry, from the which changes?
From the Nindachi?
I don't know. I mean, it's sort of mixed on the Nindachi. The feedback I've seen, I know that like some people are happy with them, some people aren't. They're still a little bit squishy, but people are like the improvements, and some people think that, you know, maybe it got improved too much. Again, this is one of the things where, I mean, again, community managers may have a different view on this, and you guys may have a different view on it. But I think with the mixed feedback we're getting, it may be something that we'll have to also take a closer look at telemetry and metrics from the game as well to see what the overall picture looks like before it. But again, I mean, everything that's being posted to the Discord and the channels and the conversation that you guys were having with the mods and the CMs, that's all being collected and reported. So,
can I elaborate some more on the Nindachi? Were we going to have a segment talking about that, or are you bringing that up now?
Bring it up now,
Yeah.
Zim. As well.
Okay. Yeah. So like my thing about Nindachi just personally is I like the improvements, but I feel like it should have been done in a different way. Honestly, I feel like they should have just added more to the current skills that you can have on the Nindachi, which they did, but it's kind of outside of it. Like there's a heal and there's more damage now. Cool. But you have to like get to it, right? You have to hit, you know, so many times and then you get these bonuses, which I also get. But what I would love to see is a rework on some of the skills and make them worth it. Like Tiger's Claw does a lot of damage. It heals you also. But what if you added like one more thing to it? Like what if you added one more ability to it that actually makes it more potent? You know, like it's hard to land because it's a slow spin around. You kind of got to have them on the ground or have them locked in a corner to land it. So I'm kind of curious on if we can give it a little more CC. Like I feel like if it's lacking that CC you really want to see, it's kind of like in the middle of everything. You have damage, you kind of got to pick damage, or you have to pick like defense. Like you're picking one or the other. You can try to balance both, but you're not going to be good at one or the other. You're kind of just going to be like, I don't know, just a hosh posh of like some damage, some armor, and you're not really viable in certain situations with that. So you either have to go full damage or you go full defense on it. And full defense is still kind of iffy because you don't quite get there on armor. But I mean, one thing I would love to see is it just goes heavy armor or something. Like I feel like that would have been a change that would have been awesome to see, because then it can be tanky and have damage. Kind of like short sword, you can go full damage on a short sword, pop iron sides, and then you're indestructible and you get to do a ton of damage. So like I feel like it needs that edge. That's what I'm looking for in the Nindachi. I'm not sure about other people, but that's just my opinion.
What was the rest of the group think about that too?
Like you said, Joe, I'm sure it's one of those things that you're going to have to look at all the feedback first and then go from there. If changes need doing, they need doing. If not, then not. But it's first gathering all that data, and
Yeah, I mean,
if you feel any different, Move?
Yeah, I kind of think it was a change that I think it's a good change, but I kind of agree with Zimsto on that. Like maybe I think dealing with it by changing the armor class might actually help. The only thing I would like to see is, you know, like with the armor class is so if you decide, it could be a unit that it could be a warlord that you can go either medium or heavy armor, and it gives different stats depending. So maybe a boost in something in medium, and so they get, you know, it gives the user the ability, the player, to have the choice in terms of what type of armor to give it a bit more agility, or that kind of thing as well. At the moment, I think generally the armors don't seem to give that kind of edge. So if you've got light armor, you run just as fast as medium armor and stuff. So it'd be nice to see maybe something like that.
Fair points.
Yeah, that's where I think a lot of people are coming from. It's like, we like the changes, we want to see the changes, but we're not 100% sure if these were the right changes. But we do want to see these changes come.
Yeah,
So
and
we're excited something is happening.
Yeah, and that's completely valid feedback too, right? I mean, this could just be, I mean, as far as I'm aware, this could be the first step in further changes that are already planned and coming, right? And these are just the ones that they're able to get into the build. I'm not privy to that information. I don't know if that's actually the case or not, but maybe that is something. I mean, what you guys are really talking about is being able to build your hero to a specific play style, right? And so whether that's the skills, the balance, whether that's statistics, or whether that's in-game items that we need to add or something like that to be able to accommodate that play style. So if you want to be like just straight tank mode, high armor, and just be able to absorb and maybe dish out a little bit of damage, then you'd be able to set up a build like that. And then if you wanted to go full attack, just huge damage output, and then have to like take a retreat, so run into a crowd, deal out some damage, and then retreat back and make sure you don't get crushed. I think basically that's what you guys are saying in a nutshell, right? Is that what I'm getting? Am I taking that?
Yeah, it's like it's too much one way or the other. You have to go, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So, well, wait. I mean, you're either setting up the character to a specific playstyle by the armor, the stats, the skills, or you want more of a mixed, being able to do everything with one build, like.
No, I mean, not necessarily one build. I wanted to have the capability of more builds, because when you go full armor on a Nindachi, you literally do no damage. Like you're not going to do a lot of damage. The problem is you have to put into strength and agility to get that damage you want to see, but then you are lacking the armor because you are medium armor, which that makes you think about it, of course, and you're like, well, I got to put some armor, or do I go toughness and not worry about, of course we want people thinking about what they should be doing, but I feel like there's something missing there. And like I said, I feel like if you change the armor class, that might fix it, in my opinion.
I mean, the one thing about the Nindachi, I mean, the actual concept of it originally was to be front line, wasn't it? So it kind of makes sense to have the heavy armors in front. So, but I don't know. Would you have a medium class armor in the front line? I always thought they were sort of more the people that were kind of rolling in and out, a bit like the short sword.
I guess it's just one of those things that time will tell, won't it? But I think from what everyone's saying, change is good, but maybe it's just not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
And that's, for sure. And that's where, make your voices heard. Tell us your opinions, and we can take that and continue to iterate, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna it's moving away from the Nindachi, because I feel we could spend the whole hour.
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zimmy in here as well.
I love me some Nindachi, so.
So I just want to kind of move on. So as I'm watching Zim's stream, we're going to talk about the new map, the new Siege map first. There is a new field map as well, isn't there, Drew?
Yeah, by land and sea.
Yeah, so I've not actually had a chance to even see that one yet. I tried to get into it earlier, but it didn't come up in the rotation. But I
don't think it's going to be available for a few weeks.
Okay.
I think it's part of the seasonal rollout. I mean, in terms of the Regionopolis map, right now the first iteration that you guys are playing with it is out live now, and you saw from the trailers and stuff like that there's supposed to be tunnels in there and whatnot, and I talked about this during the preview event, but I'll sort of just repeat it. It's through this season, we want to sort of tell a story, or the team wants to tell a story through throughout the season, and you're going to get that as part of the unit challenges, as part of the maps, and then other aspects of the season. And as the season rolls out, you're going to see the Regionopolis map continue to evolve, and new elements will become available as the season progresses. And I think it's going to be a pretty cool experience, especially. Excuse me, especially once the tunnel. I mean, when I was watching the preview event, and while we were playing, the tunnels are a very cool addition. I love those sort of interactive elements of the maps and stuff like that, and seeing that starting to come in the game is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and actually from playing it, it brought a whole new dynamic to attack and sync as well, which is, I felt the game needed, seriously. But so Moof and Zim, what do you think of the new map so far? Like, personally, I absolutely love it. I mean, it's definitely easier as a defender, so if I can get defense, it's for the best. But I actually do really enjoy it as an attacker as well. I don't know what you two feel.
Yeah, I mean, I personally was really excited to see the tunnels and the enclosed spaces, because it was something that I was quite, sort of passionate about before, and just being able to. I mean, I think the first iteration of that we saw was in the Great Wall, where you have the towers and you've got those small spaces inside. And I just think in terms of the dynamics of a battle, where you're passing through these tunnels or, these spaces which are enclosed, I think they're fantastic. So, I want to see more of that as well. So I think especially like, I was a bit miffed though, because when the first thing I did was, when it went live, was I went to the tunnel and I didn't realize it was going to be closed. So I just stood there like going, what am I supposed to? Am I supposed to blow it up?
Quite a few of us did that. I was trying to hit it and all kinds.
Sitting there with Culverin, like, I got this, guys.
Yeah, I know the tunnel here, guys. Trust me.
I almost did that. So I was about to put down a cannon until someone in chat went, no, it's part of the season. It will open later. And I was like, no, I really wanted to go in the tunnel. But I just have to wait a bit longer.
Yeah, and with the by land and sea map, that's another one that's going to be coming this season as well. And it's definitely a cool, interesting map. I really wish we were able to get you guys on it during the preview event, but there was at the time there was a bug with the map that was pretty bad, and just wasn't comfortable showing that off on stream at the time. It really didn't look good because of a missing texture. So obviously that's been fixed, and when it's going to become available, it's a pretty cool map. I think it's also got some cool elements to it that I think you guys will enjoy, and I'm not going to ruin the surprise. I'll let you guys discover it for yourself.
Have you got a rough time frame at all when that does come out, Drew?
I don't off the top of my head. I thought, and this is very, very loose. I thought it was around 4 weeks. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah,
but probably more likely than about mid-season-ish.
I think the better thing to do is just wait until we have an announcement about it. Because generally, plans are generally soft until they're locked in, and I haven't seen the actual locked in plan. Doesn't mean it's not there. It's just I haven't seen it, so I don't want to promise something and not deliver. So.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, because I can imagine the response you'd probably get from people if you were wrong.
Yeah, Drew said it was going to come. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
So just playing the map as it is, then, are you guys enjoying it?
I like it. Personally, I like it a lot. There's a lot of different things going on. I like that the map's kind of, you got a left and right side to go after, instead of it being like, oh, there's only one real way to do this map. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunities that can be made in this map. Besides that, I am sad about the underground passage not being open, but hopefully that opens up. I do feel like it's a death trap in my opinion, but people want to see it. I like experimenting with it. It looks like a death trap. Like, you're gonna climb out of that hole and be like, there's just gonna be troops waiting for you. So I'm excited to see how people play that.
Awesome. So all in all, then, pretty good map.
Yeah,
Positive
absolutely.
addition.
Yeah, I mean, I really like it. I like I love the architecture of it as well. It's different from the other ones as well. So I like what they've done with the modeling there. Absolutely, I think it's really well done.
So while we're on the subject of new things coming into the game, we'll talk about the units in a minute. But how do you guys feel the doctrine systems come in? How do you feel that's changed the game up for the better, for the worse?
Keeping in mind that the bugs that were happening
Oh yeah,
are,
yeah.
I know, I think there were, I mean, from the reports that I saw, I know that there were at least 2 bugs that were getting affected. I think there was a third one there. We've deployed a fix today. I don't know. I've had a ridiculously busy day, so I haven't been able to check the notes or anything like that. I don't know if all 3 of the bugs were fixed, but I'm pretty sure that the major ones were addressed. So keeping in mind when you're giving your feedback that those bugs, we're squashing them, and it shouldn't affect you guys anymore. So.
Cool. Yeah, no, I quite like the new doctrine system. It gives a bit more opportunity. I think my only concern with it is that there does seem to be on some units in particular a consensus on what doctrines to use and not to use any other ones, just those ones, because they give the maximum sort of benefit to that unit. So I don't know if there's kind of like a way of mixing that up a little bit just to make it more investigative and stuff like that. But I do like the fact that you can swap them out.
Yeah, I think at the minute there's not a huge range of doctrines, is there? So that I think that's why people tend to go for the same kind of builds. I mean, is there plans for any more doctrines to come into the game in future, Drew, that you've heard?
Yeah, I have yes, in that I have heard, and at this time I really can't talk about anything because there's no solid plans in place, and I might be able to start talking about that in some soon-ish, and I say soon in quotation marks. But yeah, I mean, in terms of adding more doctrines and whatnot, that's I don't have any solid information on that, so I'd rather not say anything on stream. Again, like Drew said this. Yeah, I don't want to.
I say that
Yeah,
anyways. I always just say Drew said that. When people ask me, I'm like, yeah, that's what Drew said.
Yeah, Drew
definitely Drew's fault.
I just blame Drew. Like, yeah.
I'm cool with that though. No, I mean, like being officially here and talking to things, I don't want to give incorrect information. So as soon as I have something confirmed to talk with you guys about, then I promise I will.
Do you have anything confirmed while we're on it? Anything that you want to talk about, Drew?
No. Maybe as a closed group with the rest of the creators, but like on a live stream like this, no, unfortunately not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Not for the minute. Fair one. Well, is there any additional thoughts then, Zimmy, on the doctrine system?
I honestly haven't messed with it too much yet, but when I do, you'll know. So, I mean, I honestly have not messed with it because I have a lot of my stuff set up already. I have looked at it, so I can't really go elaborate on it too much right now.
Okay, but you haven't noticed any, say, negatives because it's changed then? Like it's not messed
I mean,
not
that I've known of. The only thing that I've heard about is that people have talked about and they're unsure about is the new system of picking units before matches. It was a little confusing for people when they first started because you can't see a lot of stuff and you have to scroll. Before they're used to like a much bigger layout of looking at their units. So that's like the only thing. And they have to switch between, I believe it's infantry, ranged, and then you have cavalry. So that's the only thing I've really heard about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you, Zimmy. I haven't played with it too much. I played with it a little bit when we went on to the, I call it the Content Creators Weekend onto the test server. I played with it a little bit then, and I think personally, especially for new players, I think it's a vastly improved system.
I think it's a lot more simple, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the concepts are way easier to grasp for someone who's coming in. I mean, one of the things that Conquerors Blade does is throw a lot of information at you right away at the beginning of the game, and like they're like, "Hey, you've got this sword or this axe or something like that," and then they're like, "Hey, cool, now go take over the world."
Now you got 10 units to lead. Off you go.
So it's a little bit of a steep learning curve, and I think you're going to see further steps to make things a little bit more simple for new players, and then the new UI changes are a part of that.
Yeah, and I think that was definitely a very positive step. I mean, when I was making my sorry, I got a bug in my mouth. When I started making my new players guide, I noticed that actually the tutorials, the first say hour, 2 hours, were a lot different, a lot easier to kind of stomach than when I came into the game, which is good. And to hear that actually that's going to be further improved upon as well is, I think it's only a good thing to get more people into the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So while we're on this subject, obviously we've got the new EU server. So if you're not aware and you're listening, there is a new EU server set up. So EU3, I can't remember the name because they've all got names now.
I can never remember the names of those things either.
I barely remember the name of my kids, let alone the servers. So. But I think from what I've read and from what I've heard, that's more about new players coming into the game, enjoying the game right from like everyone starts at the same level. You don't get chucked into big high tiered battles, do you?
Exactly. Yes, that is absolutely the
which I think is great actually, because if people do just want to change, they do want to start fresh, then actually I think that was putting a lot of people off to begin with. Is actually once you hit, I think it's level 30, isn't it? You get chucked in the big high tiered battles.
Oh, and you just get rolled, right? So
yeah,
and I know like matchmaking has been part of that problem too, and then like it's matchmaking slowly improving, but there are still instances where you hit a specific level and all of a sudden you're going up against like super veteran players, and they're just not only do they have units that are well progressed, but they're also really familiar with the game. They know the maps, they know proper tactics and stuff like that. And as a new player, even if you do spend the time to get your units up and you come across a new map that you may not know very well, you don't know the nuances, or like you need to be this is the best strategy for that, then it's tough for new players, and that's very discouraging, right? And so
it's very overwhelming as well, and going from one level fighting your own level people to the next level fighting 1,000+ level people.
Exactly. And I've tried games where I've picked up a game and logged in and like tried to play online and had those scenarios where I'm going up against high level players, and I literally just uninstall. I'm like, I'm not gonna if this is how the experience is, I'm not gonna bother. So, and I think that's true of most players, right? Like you want to make sure that when you pick up a game, you're having fun. That's the people play games to have fun, right? And so if it proves to be a frustrating experience, then that needs to be improved. And that's seeing steps to be able to address that, whether that's UI, matchmaking, other such stuff. And, these are all things that we're keeping in mind and working towards. So
yeah, which is always good, because you always want to have options, don't you, for people, especially new people coming into the game. You don't want to be scaring them off as soon as they start. So no, I think the addition of a new server is actually a really good idea, a really great idea actually, getting new people into the game.
Yeah, I mean the other side of that coin too is, we've seen some negative feedback around that as well, and we hear that, and respect those guys' opinions, but
I think whatever happens, you're going to have positives and negatives though, aren't you? And it's always just weighing them up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one, because I think I kind of I think it was a good idea to have a third server, and I know a few of the people that have spoken to me in particular about this issue completely disagree with me. But their side is essentially that they feel that it could potentially kill, the servers on their, the server 1 and 2, because they're seeing much less in terms of recruitment, let's say, of new players coming in. So I and what I said to them is that if that were to happen, let's say the server 1 and 2 was slowing down a little bit, then there's options, and I'm sure that the devs will start thinking of that, of how maybe even considering a merger or something like that. But we don't seem to be there at the moment, because there seems to be quite good populations on the servers. I'd be curious, actually. Do you guys have stats for the servers, EU, NA, and all that,
We do, yep.
and how they're looking?
One of the things is terms of populations and whatnot. Our policy is not to discuss that externally, but I can tell you guys that the populations are good.
Okay.
2020 in terms of population for the game and specific servers, despite what you may read in different areas of the internet, are good.
I
mean,
Reddit? No.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought as well, because I thought you go onto the server and there's a lot of people on it. I mean, it's busy. It's not like you walk into a city and there's hardly anyone there. It's busy. So I don't usually follow a lot of the stuff on like Reddit and stuff like that. I think the server speaks for itself.
Yeah, no, I would say I've not noticed any slowdown in getting into matches or any diminished populations anywhere on the server. But I mean, I'm sure Drew and developers would be able to, once the average level of server 3 caught up to server 2, server 1, if it was starting to get that way, you merge all 3 together, you make a new server again for new players, and you just keep carrying on, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, potential just rinse and repeat. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure if that's the plan or not. I just know that we have the new server and it came with Season 4. Yeah.
I think, what I'm saying is, if it goes that way, there's always options to deal with it, and there's always ways you can go about sorting it.
That's true.
Awesome. So, what else we got left to talk about? We've got the units. Is there anything that I've totally missed? That's pretty much it, isn't it, I think?
Well, mostly just the unit changes, the nerfs, and then, not necessarily nerfs, but the leadership changes with, debuffs.
Before we go into the units then, I don't know if you want to advertise your tournaments coming up to me.
Well, I know they mentioned Daddy Death's tournament, which I want to promote that. That is literally this Saturday.
But the signups for that are closed now, so you can promote yours by all you want.
Okay, cool. I know he has like 120 plus people, so that's good. I'm happy to hear.
He sent me the list this morning, and it's a good tournament, big tournament. I mean, we should obviously promote watch it on what is it, Friday, right?
He will be streaming it, and he asked me to co-host with him, so I believe I'll be streaming it also.
Nice. And then,
if you want any more casters, Zimmy, you know who to ask.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it's up to him. It's his tournament, so I'll let him do what he wants to do.
Zim, you're also casting the Friday night fights too, right?
I was asked to join for the first Friday night fights because it would be our house versus Cobra Commander's house would be the first matchup.
Okay.
So we'll see.
So we're going to be publishing an article about Friday night fights next week because the signups for that are still open. And obviously your tournament is coming up as well, August 7th. So, dude, plug away.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll plug it towards the end. We can talk about it. Let's just keep going with the podcast just for the sake of your for timing for Glenn.
Oh, we're good. We're far better than we usually do.
He always like, we're a little low.
Yeah. Okay then. So we'll talk about the new units. We've got about 10 minutes. We'll
Oh.
talk about the new units. So
We have a time limit. Cool. Okay.
yeah.
We try.
I'll tell you what, with Zimmy in here, I've got to have a time limit.
If you ask any of my fellow co-workers, they will all tell you that I talk too much. So feel free to interrupt me.
As always.
Yeah.
So first off, all the units are unlocked, similar to other seasons, aren't they? So every couple of weeks, the next set of unit unlocks will come out for the next tier of unit.
Correct.
How do you all feel about the Janissaries then so far? Personally, I think that I don't like musket units, but the Janissaries are amazing. I love that unit, and I managed to unlock them the first night. That's how keen I was for them. I don't know if you guys have played with them much yet.
Yeah, I've played a little. My favourite thing about them is the sound. It's just that booming
A
sound.
few people
It's
have said
really
that,
nice. It's I don't know, like it's different from the other ones, and I just really like just that really powerful noise. I think you've got to appreciate it for what it is. It is a 3-star unit. But yeah, it's I do like the noise of it. I like the directional aspect of it. It does seem to have weirdly better accuracy in than it claims. Yeah, I quite like it as a unit. I think the appearance of it is quite nice as well. I would have liked to have seen more of a Turkish feel to the clothes, but I know that can be quite difficult in terms of texturizing and stuff like that. But apart from that, I think it looks good.
Have you had much chance to play with them yet, Zim?
So I played them on the test server, and then I have not played them since because I am a Krieg man. I will not change from my Kriegs because I love my Kriegs. I have fought against them, and in my opinion, they're so squishy that bows can one-shot them. Short bows can, shoot them twice and they're dead. So I don't know. I don't enjoy squishy units anymore. I used to love Imperial Arquebusiers, but then after a while, I'm just like, they're just too squishy. So I've just switched to Kriegs, and I've loved the Kriegs ever since, and I'm just sticking to the Kriegs until that gets changed somewhere down the line. But that's just my opinion. I'd rather just play Kriegs.
Yeah, fair point. If you're loving the Kriegs, man, then you stick with them.
It's just I just want to see units survive a little longer than they usually do.
But they're supposed to be used like with something in front, like a shield unit or something like that. So they are a 3-star. They are a 3-star.
I mean, it's hard to rely on people unless it's like, TWs and stuff, and you're with your house or something. I play a lot on my own because I tend to get way ahead on the rankings, so I don't like pulling a bunch of people into hard matches.
I've cried a few times for losing units because somebody's moved their shields.
Yeah, so it's just at a certain point you really have to rely on yourself, bring units to the matchup that makes sense. I feel like people place those and then they're like dead in the next, like, I don't know, whatever. Like as soon as units start pushing inwards towards them and you lose any type of shields by them, they're just dead instantly. Doesn't matter what's happening. Like I always see them just drop like flies. So I hate to see that.
That's a fair point. I mean, so moving on, I know they haven't unlocked yet, but what do you feel about the ASAPs?
Oh.
Honestly,
go ahead. You
took
first.
Me massively by surprise on the Content Creators Weekend, and I think actually they're the unit I'm most looking forward to unlocking.
Yeah, those boys are gonna be something. Like, I just love. All right, so like, they're one higher than Connotories, right? So they get an extra ability. I forget what it's called. There's hasten, and then there's the parry ability.
Parry.
Yeah. So the parry ability is amazing. I think it's called counterattack, and that ability alone on that T4 is just bizarre to me because they deflect damage and they do a crap ton of damage and they spread out, and it's just bizarre to me that they have that and they kind of have the shockwave like Connotories. It's just like, what are these things? They are going to be the most used unit unless they get nerfed.
They're going to be little monsters.
Yeah,
aren't they,
I feel a nerf will happen eventually to them. They're strong. They can't beat the T5, but they shouldn't be able to beat the T5 melee units. But they definitely can beat most other things. So
I think they're a good in between, aren't they? They are a good in between. I didn't feel we had much in between rank 3 and 5. So I think they've definitely filled a gap, haven't they? So moving on to is it the Siladars that are the cavalry?
No, Celadars are the.
Is that the Huskar? Yeah,
the T5s, aren't they?
Poleaxe. I don't.
Yeah.
Or glaive, you mean, right?
Glaive,
Yeah.
Poleaxe.
Probably the.
You know what I mean. We'll talk about the cavalry first. What do you feel about those guys?
I quite like the feature, the new animation as well. The stamping and stuff like that. I think they'll be very useful inside sort of these courtyard sieges and stuff like that. So yeah, I just can't wait to use them properly as well. So yeah.
Anything from you, Zimmy, on that?
So for the mounted units, I really like their ability where they run in, and it seems like they don't try to charge through. They just try to charge into it, and then you can use the other ability of I call it stomping. I forget what it's called, but they start stomping or jump up and trampling whatever is around them, and they can knock units back, right? Or down. I believe it's down. They can knock units down, which is super amazing, because then if they can do that, then you can have whatever you want come in behind them, like monastics or Kashyyyks or Firelands, and it's just going to be devastating.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
did have a thought.
Definitely
The first
the
first time I saw them, I thought, is this a test animation for a bigger creature? And I was thinking, are they testing some stuff out here to see, what might be coming? And I don't know. There was something about the animation of the actual horse that kind of really, I don't know, it tickled me a little bit.
It's fun to have something new. What I love that the devs are doing, they're implementing new abilities on units. Like that's pretty awesome. I feel like that's almost hard to see sometimes. Sometimes they just implement the same things and just buff it up or something.
I think that's what I really like about it. It's like it's a different animation, and they're now, the game has matured to the point where they're kind of, more relaxed with playing with these animations. I mean, we're seeing it in the emotes as well and stuff like that. But I really like the fact that this is a completely different sort of style to it. So yeah,
the emotes is a nice touch. I will say that it's nice to see them bring that, because I felt like that was something missing in the actual interaction with people. So it's cool they brought that. Still waiting for a few changes to be made on the house stuff, but I'll bring that up later if we have time.
Well, if we quickly discuss the last tier unit then, so the Siladars, how do you feel about those guys at the minute?
They're awesomely potent. I love them. They're my favorite of the season. By far.
I didn't play with them enough, but I do like them. I didn't play with them enough, but I'm kind of looking forward to opening them up and really kind of messing around with them. I think they're going to give the Iron Reapers a run for their money in terms of TW, but we need to kind of test that out first and see how they perform.
Yeah, I think we definitely needed another tier 5 melee unit as well, so I think these guys have perfectly filled that number. So we've got a couple of minutes. Sorry, Drew.
I just wanted to jump in here with a point. I mean, from the preview event, there are a lot of creators who publish YouTube videos with the testing of these units and stuff like that. And I would highly recommend, anybody listening to this or watching it and whatnot, to take some time, look at some of the content that the creators created from the preview event, because it shows off all these units, shows off what they can do, how they handle other such stuff, and it really give you a good indication of how well these units perform, particularly against other different styles of units and whatnot. So, I mean, I just wanted to take a sec to make sure that, I know that you guys don't want to do self plugs and self promotion and whatnot, but I'm going to take the opportunity to promote you guys, because there's a lot of good videos out there that are going to be a great information resources as these unit challenges become available and as you go, and which ones may be the best units going forward, or what fits your particular playstyle and whatnot. So, yeah.
No, it's awesome, Drew. So, yeah, as a cheeky self-plug, hopefully Drew's talking about one of my videos as well. So, go back, have a look.
Yep.
I will say, there were a lot of videos that came out. I tend to wait because I want to see how they are implemented in the season.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So, but yeah, definitely, and there was a lot of tests done. So I appreciate everyone that does that, because it gives us a good idea what to expect and then what we can test later. So yeah.
For sure.
So, talking about the emote system, like, quickly for a minute then. Good or bad?
Love it.
Yeah, love it too. The only one I'm not sure about yet is the joyous one. They don't seem that joyous when they shout out.
They jump in the air.
They jump in the air and they go, yay, kind of thing. It should be, really powerful, yeah, kind of thing, or something. Needs a bit more joy, I think.
Well,
apart from that, I'm picking now. I'm literally picking. I do love them. I do.
Well, I would like the laughing one where the guy goes, "Ha!"
Yeah,
I'd like to see that.
I like that, actually. It sounds a sarcastic laugh. Ha!
Yeah.
So that's good. We can appreciate that.
But nobody took my advice on doing an emote of a human pretending to be an elephant. I don't know why, but yeah.
Making weird noises. Like, we don't know what that person's trying to do, but
I'd love to see the system expand and have more in there and whatnot. I mean, like,
yeah.
I play a lot of other games. Obviously, I'm a gamer, and one of my favorite things is I play a lot of Destiny 2, and I love the emotes that they have in there.
Absolutely.
They're just cool.
Well, now the system's in, I think it's easier. Yeah. It's easier to add to than create new, isn't it? So
exactly, yeah.
So, I was going to talk about something else, and I've totally forgotten. Zim, if you want to talk about your tournaments.
Yeah.
If you sorry, Drew. Do you remember what I was going to talk about?
You want to talk about houses?
Oh,
houses.
I brought that up. My thing is, I would love to see a last scene feature for the houses. I know that's been brought up a ton. So that's something I would love to see implemented. Like last scene, and then how long they've been in the house, kind of thing. Like those two things would be great.
I think from you alone, we've had about in our conversations and among the content creators, I think you've got at least 5 suggestions on improvements to the house interface, as well as functionality and stuff like that, and just good quality of life features that would make running a house, recruiting a house, managing and all that stuff just a little bit easier and better. And all these things, because you were talking about, you said last scene, the previous, like their house history. So if someone has come from a previous house and whatnot, and I think there were a few other suggestions, and in the sake of time, I'm going to say anything. All those suggestions have been passed on, and I know that definitely the team does the booming and us. We want to make sure that a lot of those quality life stuff does get in the game, and hopefully sooner than later. And if I had more information about specific timeline, then I'd be able to share that with you. But I don't, considering generally right after the launch of a season is we've been focused so much on this season that any plans for the next season and then one after and whatnot are so much in flux that giving any sort of update now would be pointless. So
yeah, and then like the last thing I would finish on for houses is everyone uses Discord. So like what would be cool is if you can just put a forever invite code, like just the code in, and literally you plug it in and then it becomes a link that would just take people straight to the Discord. That would be cool too.
That would be cool, actually. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that would be very useful. The man to go to for suggestions.
I mean, I play it a lot. I run a house like with a few people, and it's still pretty tough.
Yeah,
So,
and
Yeah,
I'm sure people who listen to this podcast are, this is going to spawn some conversations about other aspects of the houses, and not only like the internal politics of houses, house versus house, territory wars and stuff like that. And I want to take an opportunity to point out that like a lot of the feedback that has been coming from the community, from the house leaders, from people that actually play in the houses, people who try to play in the cohorts.
playing the cards.
We've heard all of that. We know it all. It is stuff that we do want to address. And if I had, info about changes or dates or anything like that, I'd be able to give it to you. But too much in flux at the moment. But it is stuff we've heard, and we definitely want to address.
Awesome. So, boys, unfortunately, we've hit an hour, so we're gonna have to start calling it. Zim, you got 30 seconds to sell your tournament.
So I have a 5v5 King of the Hill tournament coming up on August 7th. Signups, I have links in my stream on YouTube. Just hit me up if you need the sign up link. Teams of 5. I'd love to get a bunch of teams involved. About 16 teams is what I'm looking for. We have about 6 teams already registered, so I'd love to see some more teams pour in there. And that's about it. I'd love to see some action.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Cool. You had 2 seconds to spare then, Zim.
I'm
We're
good.
going to post an article about the tournament on the Conquerors Blade site on the week of August 3rd.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So definitely check that out. Fantastic. So I'm going to call it there. As always, I'm going to put links to everyone's channels in the description box below of this video. Thank you all for watching and listening. Thank you to Mouflon and Zimmy for coming along.
Thank you.
Always
Thank you.
a pleasure, boys. Special thanks to Drew as well for coming along. I know you're a busy man, Drew, so we really do appreciate the hour you've given us.
Well, I'm happy to finally be able to make it. So
Oh, more than happy to have you again, Drew. More than happy. So whenever you fancy it, man.
cool.
But thank you very much for everyone listening. We still hope you're really enjoying these. As always, if you have any suggestions, comments, or you want anything actually spoken about in the next podcast, then just leave a comment below. But we're going to sign off here, and I'm going to say bye to everyone, and hope to catch you all on the battlefield.